I'm the girl who loves to laugh and avoids like anything crying because the thought and feelings of crying is so uncomfortable and it feels so vulnerable. And it's like I'm not coping with something, and then everything just gets bottled up and comes squirting out of my eyes. And it is embarrassing when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and then you're noticing these tears just wanting to well up. And I was noticing on my spiritual journey, I was becoming so sensitive to people's emotions and my emotions and the state of what was going on in the world. I would react with tears, and it would just, I would notice the reactions, the physical reaction, and I'd try to suck it up and push away what I was thinking and working through and processing. And I realized I had to actually address, why was I crying and what is the response? And when we had two deaths in the family last year, I realized something that I hadn't quite sort of understood before, that when we think about the departed, we are calling them in, shall I say, calling them in to be able to feel into the energy and to remind ourselves of them, even if we don't know that this is what we're actually doing. We are thinking about them, which then gets their own their consciousness is alerted to us, and we're open to them, remembering that everything is right around us, within us, everything. We are all. And so we're all very capable of connecting into anyone who we know who has departed. There is no true death. It is simply just a cycle of one life to another life, knowing that there is the truth in reincarnation, which does take some time for people to understand and accept. But there is so much research out there. But the focus of crying today, and why we cry when we think about our departed loved ones, is because we're getting their attention, and they're sending us love. They're sending us so much love. And this can be very confusing for people, because when they think about their departed ones, they have all of this range of emotions of sadness, rejection, anger, maybe sometimes being pissed off with them, all of the feelings that we have for the departed. And we're really struggling with that, because if we feel like we don't get a say in the conversation of the exit point, we don't get to tell them our gossip after they have died. There's a whole lot of assumptions of what we can and can't do for those souls who have shifted, who have left. And this is a very traumatic experience for many people who don't understand that the souls of our friends, of our families, truly don't go anywhere. They're always reachable, and they can always come and feel our energy, regardless of wherever their soul spirit is, or if they're going to be ghosts, or if they're going back to source or God, or whatever the labels and understanding of the afterlife is for you. We can instantly call in by just simply thinking about those people who have departed, and just feeling them and seeing how we feel. Sometimes we want to cry, but it's not because of sadness, it's something else. And that something else, I have discovered, is the pure love they have for us. But that pure love is so profound and so powerful that it always makes me want to cry. And it confused me when I was starting to feel this with the first death last year. I accept the death process. I understand it was his life contract, but why, when I think about him, do I cry? I'm not sad for him. I'm happy and trust that his teams are protecting him and helping him with his life purpose and contracts and exit points, and helping him leave the physical body and for his soul to be doing what he needs to be doing. I'm not sure about his life review or how his personal experience of departing was, but I do trust that he has much support and he's never alone, even in death. And so for me personally, on my spiritual journey, I needed to understand what happens to people after they die, because for me, I did not ever resonate with the information that this is the only lifetime we get. And then when we die, there is nothing. And that's a kind of a scary interpretation of what actually is the truth. But I guess when you were trying to focus on this lifetime being the most important, having that belief system that this is the one and only life you have, you will make the most out of it, instead of assuming, well, if I don't excel this lifetime, I can always do it next lifetime, maybe. And I see lots of people who do believe in spirituality and who do believe in reincarnation, they sort of just put it off for next lifetime. Oh, I'll do my inner work next lifetime. I'll finish my karma next lifetime. Which brings me to the conversation about what karma is. It's not something that is punished upon us. We choose our life contracts, and in that life contracts, we choose the experiences that we want to experience and what we want to master or complete or overcome. And so what our life contract descriptions are in our lists will look like, in some people's terminologies, karma. And the thing is that we choose our karma, we choose our life lessons, we choose what we want to experience as we prepare to come into each individual lifetime. And so it is not a punishment. There isn't a karma God that is saying, you were not doing this right. It's us. Our soul's growth and journey wants to experience all. And so we will choose these experiences, and maybe even this conflict with other people and their soul contracts, maybe even some real serious trauma or abuse or something. And I know this must sound so strange to people. Why would you want abuse in your life contract? And the reality is, what if you've chosen with your free will in another lifetime to do something that wasn't empowering someone else? And so when you look back at your life review after that lifetime, you realize, I actually need to learn what it feels like to be abused. So then my next choices in this lifetime, and hopefully the rest, will not have the same choices. So we're learning about cause and effect. We're learning about responsibilities and being accountable for our actions. So we choose our karma. And there is so much epiphanies that people are having with their choices that they're making in their daily lives. We're almost seeing what people could say is instant karma. So it is, we really get out from the universe what we put in. And so a lot of people are confused why they are struggling to be of service and why they don't understand what being of service actually is for humanity. They know that their teams have told them to be of service, but they don't understand. And so what being of service truly is being compassionate and loving and kind and accepting to all, including yourself. You chose your bodies, you chose your parents, you chose your everything that's in your life right now. You really did. And many people want to feel disempowered by their life and believe that they allowed someone else to make their choices for them. You know, a bossy partner or the job location. But ultimately, it truly came down to our choices. And sometimes when we don't make a choice, that is the choice we make. So if we don't step up and say, no, I don't want this, or I don't want that, we end up actually still having that as a choice because we haven't said otherwise. I really like this statement that I've always heard when I was little, and I try to remind myself of this time and time again. You are the sum of all of your choices leading up to now. And when we can choose our lives and when we can choose to live and have the perception of what we want and how we see and view the world, we may not be in the most ideal situations, but we can make a choice to be able to empower ourselves and see the good in it, or disempower ourselves and feel depleted and isolated and not complete and give ourselves all these excuses of why we can feel miserable. And so we've all been there. It's not a judgment. It's something that humans can easily go into. So what does truly being of service look like? Not avoiding people who are in density, not avoiding people who are looping, who are in fear. We don't need to be selling them your truth and your belief systems, but you need to be selling to them that you do love them, that you accept them, that you can have a conversation about anything and it will not faze you. Remembering those people who are afraid and those people who haven't done their own inner work, who are hurting, quite common, they will be hurting others because they're so hyper focused on their own inner work and their own hurt that they're oblivious to their own reactions and how they're connecting to people and how they're responding to the world. And so they will be reacting to you, and often they will lash out to people because they're trying to show us what's going on for them. But as empaths, or as people that want to feel loved and respected while you're supporting others, while you're loving them, it can be a challenge because they do feel like they're prickly cactuses. And we've heard this in many sessions before, this analogy where they say the prickly cactus is so hurt, it's on a defense mechanism reaction. And so it's created these little spikes to kind of protect itself from being afraid and hurt again. And as they say, inside that cactus is really soft goo, and it's soft and it really needs love and protection. And the more we can help that cactus feel loved and supported and safe, because we're reminding them that they can love themselves and that they can trust themselves and they can value themselves and they can protect themselves. When we remind them and empower them to empower themselves, then they will actually start dropping those prickles, and they will start being able to truly open up to you and to themselves. We don't know all the right words to be able to help people with their inner work, but it's not our role to do their inner work. It is our role to simply love all and respect all and be kind to all. Of course, when those prickly cactuses are reacting and trying to hurt us while we're trying to love them, we could take it personally as if this is a direct statement about how we are and what we should tolerate. We do not tolerate abuse. We can love people and we can see how they are reacting and how they're responding to the challenges of the world, but don't take it on as a personal attack. Know, because you've loved yourself enough and you know who you are, that you don't need to convince other people of our belief systems. All we need to convince other people is that they're lovable, that they are loved, that they're safe, that all is going to be well. You have to get back to the basics and remind them, because they're so in fear, they're so in shock of living here and being here and trying to understand what the heck is going on and why is not everyone following their own belief systems. Some people have the illusion that if everyone believed exactly like them, the world would be a better, safe place. It's not possible for us to all have the same belief systems and understandings of things. We come from different collectives, which means that we come from different planet systems, and we've had different other lifetimes where we want different lessons. We've had different skill sets in other lives where we are profoundly proficient in some things and still want experiences in others. Life is extraordinary. And when we get so hyper focused on the 3D and the range of emotions, we really get distracted and sometimes some quite thick density. And so when I say density, it is more just holding on to the denser emotions, those emotions that just lower our vibrations instantly. And when we look at all the range of emotions, it seems like there's millions of definitions of every different emotion that we can carry. And often most of it is behind that emotion or that reaction is fear or lack, worry. There's so much there. And we all know that fear is, everyone wants to dismiss fear and not own up to the fact that they have fear or they have worry or concerns. But everyone, when they're truly honest with themselves and they break down actually what their reactions are, it is fear, it is concern. And so I'm definitely that girl who's trying to get used to talking to a camera and focusing on looking at one point so you feel like I'm talking directly to you, because I am talking to you. And I wish you were here with me so I could focus on you and be able to have eye contact and engage with you on a real one-to-one level. But right now, I'm feeling into all of the energies of all of the beings here. I feel like there are so many here who are trying to talk to all of you. And so I feel like I'm constantly scanning their information of what's the most appropriate. And I forget that I'm recording. And I also try not to look at myself on the screen. So I'm trying to avoid looking to see how I am reacting to these words myself and how I can best represent this information at a personal level. And I'm trying to break it down into smaller, palatable information for you to understand. Not because you're an idiot, but because you've forgotten some of this stuff. And so it's just a lovely reminder. So please take what resonates with you. Please try to understand that everyone needs love. You deserve respect and love. You absolutely do. And you do not deserve abuse from anyone. But when we're angry with those people who have abused us, that lowers our vibration. And when we're angry or pissed off with things, we have to just have acceptance. We do not need to allow it to continue on. We're definitely allowed to say, stop, I'm not letting you abuse me anymore, with much love. And that may look like distance. That may look like a whole lot of things. But if we react to them and then we're causing more friction because we're angry with them, it's best just to walk away for a bit. We can still love them and support them the best way we can. But if we haven't done our own inner work enough to love ourselves profoundly, to be unbreakable and unswayable, and we don't want to be impacted by those people who are those cactuses. And so if we're not right there yet, and we haven't strengthened ourselves enough yet to be of true service, to be able to love others who are still reacting to this world in a prickly way, we need to do more inner work. Because we shouldn't be impacted and pricked by these people who are hurt, because then that's just going to be that chain reaction. They hurt us, then we're going to hurt someone else or ourselves or them. We need to break those cycles. And love is always going to be the key. We've heard this so many times in sessions. It's always going to be love that will lift your frequency, will drop your judgment of how they're responding, have compassion to them for being those cactuses, because we've all been those cactuses at one point, and it was horrible and hard because of our choices, of our perceptions. And I think we all, when we were cactuses, needed those true friends who still loved us, even though we struggled to even love ourselves. So I will get there. I will master this skill set of talking in front of camera. And I just want you to feel so empowered that you can truly be of service with ease and grace and joy and love it, and overcome our fears of dealing with prickly cactuses. Imagine little gloves and you're just loving them, because it's all they truly need. Because when they're so reactionary and so prickly, we often don't want to deal with them because they will hurt us. But because we've done our own inner work, and because we've loved ourselves and know we're of service, remembering these cactuses often have disconnected themselves from their teams. And so they've just shut themselves down from their intuition. They don't want to be helped or supported because they don't believe they should be helped and supported at some level. So they're not even asking for their spiritual teams to help them. So they're very dense in their choices of what emotions they hold on to and what mindsets they're viewing the world in. So we can all love them together. We can all love ourselves, remembering we are all one, we are all connected. And remember when you were that cactus and what you needed, This is a great exercise for everyone to do. And those people who come into your lives are the perfect examples of who we need to be supporting and how. Love, 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 love. It's always the word. It's always the intention just to love them and support them wherever they're at is very important. We may not have always the right words, but when they can feel our true love and our true respect for them being people, not necessarily respecting their behaviors and actions, but loving their soul essences. It's exciting times and very achievable, and all of your teams are saying, yes, you can do it.